Hey Dee, do you realize that this episode is coming out in October?
How is that possible? Time flies, I guess. So we better get started before it's November already.
I will get us started. Welcome to the Garden Angelist, where we chat about flowers, veggies, and all the best dirt. I'm Carol Michael from Indianapolis, Indiana. I have a suburban garden measured in square feet. It's about a third of an acre.
Oh, who am I? I'm Dee Nash from Guthrie, Oklahoma, where I still have a large garden out in the country.
We are Garden Angelists because we love gardening. We want you to love it too.
Do we really love gardening right now?
Yes, we
Oh,
do, Dee. Go ahead.
yes,
Go
we
ahead.
do. Yes, we do. We aren't afraid to tell all of our gardening secrets, the good, the bad, and lately the ugly. But let's move on to this week's episode. Tell me about your garden. I'm sure yours is, all spiffy and awesome. And
Not
look at all that
exactly.
work you did.
Well, let me explain. So we recorded on Sunday and now it is Thursday. So in 4 days, my garden has gotten nearly 2.5 inches of rain, which is lovely.
Yeah.
So I ran out there and fertilized my lawn with some organic stuff. I picked a few tomatoes. They're still producing. I did not pick a bunch of peppers because, frankly, I just don't know what I'd do with them.
Mm-hmm.
Yesterday, I mowed and trimmed the lawn. I've got all my houseplants watered, and I've been experimenting with rosemary that I brought in. I had 3 pots of it that I had purchased as seedlings this spring. So I got
Mm-hmm.
one in the east window, one in the west window, one in the south window. And so far, the east and west windows are doing better than the one in the south window, which I will now point at right there. So
Okay.
anyway, that's my
Is it
4 days.
that's my question. So the one in the south window, do you think it's just getting too much sun or, on its little, you don't
No,
know. Okay.
no.
Okay, well, in my garden, not much has happened. Um, I've worked. I worked yesterday. I'm working tomorrow and Saturday, which I'm really enjoying.
Good.
Um, what have I done in the garden? Not very much, just kept it watered. And I need to take some cuttings this weekend if I'm going to do that. And really, I don't think I'm going to do as many cuttings as I've done in the past. I think I'll just take cuttings of the faults for vein because it's kind of hard to get.
Oh,
So
yeah. Yeah. If it's
I
easy to
might
buy
take
in the
it.
spring, you might as well just buy it in the spring.
Well, and the thing about coleus cuttings is that they attract mealybugs, and
Yeah,
I
nobody
had a
needs that.
mealybug
Nobody needs that.
explosion last winter. I don't want to do that anymore. So let's do question
No,
of the
we do
week, which,
favorites. The
uh,
question comes after the favorites.
well, why is the question in front
I
of
don't
it?
know. You put it in the wrong spot. It's down there. Down there. You see it down there?
Oh, why is it up here too?
I
Okay,
don't
well,
know.
anyway, what's your favorite this week?
My favorite this week is glass gem corn. I picked some more of it this morning, actually, and it's so pretty. And everyone looks completely different. You're like, this is
I
all
love
coming
it.
from the
It's
same packet
beautiful.
of seed, but it's beautiful. And so this time I was able to shuck it, and then I got that dried silks behind it, or not the silks, the wrapping
Husks.
husk.
The husks.
Husk is the word
It
I
took me a minute. I don't know why I'm
husk.
so sleepy this morning. I've had coffee. I just am sleepy, but yes, corn husks.
Yes, and so I have a nice little
You
tail
pulled
of
them
corn husk.
behind it
Yeah, and
and you
it's
made it
very
look
cute.
cute.
Yes, I don't know what
Yeah.
I'm going to do with them. They're laying in the counter, and I thought, I hope there aren't a bunch of bugs in here. So,
So when I did it years ago, a couple of years ago, which I think it's beautiful, I actually dried it and then I popped it. It didn't pop very well, I have to say.
no, no.
It was
Yeah, it's
it
very tricky
was
to get the
not,
right moisture content so that
yeah,
you
it
have
didn't
good
work very well.
popcorn. Nobody has time for that. What is your favorite this week?
Um, my favorite's variegated Mexican bush sage because I pulled the bush sage, well, I eliminated it in my very front beds because they're gone, right? And so I could have dug a piece of it up, but it's really hard to dig. So I went and actually bought some that has the variegated, so the calyx is one color and then the other piece is another, it's white.
Sure.
So I'll take a picture of it. It's really pretty. Yeah, that's my favorite this week.
Cool. Cool. All right. Now we can do the question of the week.
So at the greenhouse, this is my number, and also garden. And by the way, I am doing garden coaching and I've got plenty of time, even though I'm also working at the nursery. I've worked two people in this week. Um, so the question of the week that I get asked the most by everybody right now, because it's been a rainy year in Oklahoma. So
Uh-huh.
the deer are exploding this year.
God love
People,
them.
you do not want deer in your garden as
Nope.
much as possible because they are tick-ridden flea bags. That's what they are. And so that's one reason. The other reason is they'll eat everything
Yep.
almost. But so people are like, what can I plant that is deer resistant? Carol, I have a question for you. Are violas and pansies deer resistant?
Oh, heavens no, they wouldn't be dare resistant.
No. Are daylilies deer resistant?
No, no, they've
How
eaten
about
all your Dale.
hostas? How about
No,
hostas?
no,
No, none
no.
of these. So we came up with a list of ideas of plants that, as a general rule, are deer resistant. I thought of two more right off the top of my head, but
So
go
you
ahead.
listed this. Plants with scented leaves.
Yep, they don't like scented leaves. So all those scented pelargoniums that I have just sitting on that tiered stand, they never touch them.
And then plants with silvery leaves. We've talked about that before.
Yeah, lavender would fit both of those bills. So would a
Yes.
lot of salvias. They don't like stuff that is silvery. And we've talked about that many times because it has little hairs. And so it doesn't feel good in their mouths, little creeps. And so there you go.
Spiny plants, things with little spines and thorns. They don't want to get stuck. So they don't, do they bother your roses?
Yeah, they'll eat roses because roses are in the apple family and there aren't
No.
enough prickles for them.
Ah,
But do not put your succulents out that don't have spines because they will eat those like, I mean, it's amazing how fast
that's
they eat
dessert.
those. That's they love those. And then there's the poisonous plant category. And the poisonous plant category would include hollies because they're ilex. A lot of them are Ilex vomitoria, which gives you a clue. They do not eat hellebores. Hellebores are poisonous. They do not eat yews, either spreading or vertical, because they are again poisonous. So anything that's poisonous, including milkweed, they
That's
will
right.
not eat any of the milkweeds. And a lot of native plants don't get overgrazed either.
Huh. That's interesting.
Well, they're native and, they'd much rather have your hosta that you spent a fortune on or your
Yes.
daylily. So
Yes.
one of the things I'm going to do is down in the lower garden in the back, I'm going to pull out a bunch of those daylilies this year because if they're just going to eat them, why would I have them?
Exactly. And
Also, I
then,
have noticed, oh, and they do eat hydrangeas, people. So there you go. But you can sometimes surround your hydrangeas with coleus, and they don't like coleus. They are
hmm,
fuzzy.
yeah, that's true.
So there you go.
And then one thing I put at the end, with all my deer experience, which I do not have, if
Hmm.
they are hungry, they'll eat pretty darn much anything
Yeah, they will. Well, probably
within
not
reason.
Mexican bush sage, but they would eat a lot of things. So there you go. Now, our insect of the week is not one of Carol's favorites.
No, and actually, it's not even an insect. It's spiders, garden
Yeah, it's not
spiders.
technically an insect.
Yes. So you put on there the garden spider, Argiope orientia, which you said is big, beautiful black and yellow spiders with the zigzag in their webs.
Yeah, I love those. And there's a reason that spiders are associated with Halloween. It's not because they're particularly, I mean, they're scary, I guess, but the real reason is because spider webs start to really come out in the fall, in the late
Yes.
summer and fall.
Yes.
And then there's crab spiders, which I did not list the botanical name. I have a lot of crab spiders right now.
You mean
Those are the ones,
not the botanical name, the Latin name.
sorry. I'm always thinking about botany, not spiders. I am not an entomologist. Anyway, crab spiders sit in your flowers and wait for insects to come. And I have one particular one that is very successful in some salvia. That little girl has just killed a lot of
I have
things.
seen a few crab spiders. The spider that I think was by my back door when I looked at the pictures of the extension article we're going to link to from
Mhm.
Wisconsin. I think it
Barn
was more a
spider.
barn spider.
I figured it was a barn spider because they love to hang out next to places that have light. So,
Yes, yes. And then I
hmm
have a bunch of the funnel-shaped webs of the grass spiders. Actually, I have
hmm
some bird's nest spruce in the front, and there's tons of little webs all
the
through
little
there.
tunnels, the little tunnel
Yeah.
webs, because if you touch the edge of that web, they come running out. And then there are also the jumping spiders, which are just kind of adorable. They're fuzzy, small, black, hang out by your mailbox, different places, and they jump and they look super fierce, but they're so small.
Yes. Yeah.
So small. So
Yes.
I'm just going to put out a shout out. If you're in the Oklahoma area, we have a great spider group and it's on Facebook and I think it's called Oklahoma Spiders or something like that.
And I'm
Spiders of
going to say in
Oklahoma.
Indiana in the Midwest, I don't know of any spider groups, but I would find that those people are probably pretty creepy and I wouldn't hang out there.
They are not creepy at all. A lot of people join these groups because they're scared of stuff and then they learn about it and they're not so scared. We also have tarantulas in Oklahoma and you don't see them very much. And just leave them alone. They have no interest
Yeah.
in
The
you.
one thing
We
we
also
have,
have
wolf
black widows
spiders.
too. Yeah, we have
Wolf
wolf
spider.
spiders.
We are just a little bit north of where you would find black widows. I wouldn't be surprised if in this day and age there are some black widows that have come north, but generally they kind of stop about a county south of here.
I think
So,
of black widows as garage spiders. You always find them in the garage. I think of brown recluse, which I dislike, I have to admit, and also wolf spiders as house spiders. They seem to always be in your
yeah,
house.
I do see wolf spiders in here occasionally, and their lives are short-lived once I see them. Um, I think
And
of
I
the
let them
brown
outside.
recluse. The brown recluse is a woodpile spider.
Oh, they get in our clothes. I mean, they're pretty prevalent here. People
We
get bit a
no.
lot.
This is creeping me out. I'm going to talk about flowers now.
Let's do.
Autumn is my season, dear. It is, after all, the season of the soul, and that is Virginia Woolf from a letter that she wrote to somebody.
She definitely had an autumnal soul. Okay, so flowers. We decided because this is what I'm doing now all the time, is we would talk about refreshing your fall pots, which when apparently the girls listen to us. So they're going to be amused when they hear this topic because that's all they're doing right now. So here are your options.
Well, wait a minute. Let me make a comment and have a question first.
Okay.
Do you start your fall pots from scratch with all new stuff, or are there some summer annuals that you would leave to keep growing for a little while?
I think it depends on your mood and what you want from that fall pot and how long you want it to last. So, Oklahoma has a very interesting fall. It is, and I talked to a lady about this yesterday at the greenhouse. She was kept saying, "Will that overwinter? Will that overwinter?" And I was like, "Okay, pots are 2 zones colder than our zone, which makes them zone 5 here, and where you live, they would have to be
4.
zone 4. Okay." So, no, most of the stuff won't live. Now, there are some evergreens that live just fine. If I'm doing my pots and I decide to refresh them, and I just had a wild hair right before we came on, I was like, I think I'll go out there and I'll just rip everything out because I'm in a mood. But no, I tend to leave some things in and then I put in around it. But everybody's different.
Well, in my case, I don't have near as many pots, but I have all those salvias in the back patio. I just leave them. I don't do a fall planting back there. And like, I plant
Yeah.
some pansies and violas in the front. And then I've got some hanging baskets that are gonna go bye-bye. But let's just go through some of the things you'll find at your local
At
greenhouse. And I was
at
just
your
at
local
mine.
greenhouse.
They have
Yeah.
tons of stuff.
So lots of different kales. We listed purple kale, but there's lots of different types of kale from the purples to the greens, from the kind that is like fan shaped to the kind that looks more like a cabbage, a fancy cabbage.
Right,
There's also cabbages that you can do.
right.
All right, next is the classic mums, which I don't put mums in my pots. They don't last long enough for me, so I'd rather have mums as a separate thing.
Right, right. I'd put them in the ground.
I put them in pots in my front border because there's nothing going on in there, and I just match the three pots and match the three mums. We have this one really cool mum that we all keep talking about. It's pink, but it hasn't, it's just starting to show its color, but it has different leaves than the other mums. It's got a really cool leaf.
Cool.
Sweet alyssum is a great idea because it
It
really is a
is.
cool weather flower.
Yeah. Now back up to moms because something
Yep.
not on our list is there are those asters that you can buy. If you want more in the blues, you can get
Yeah.
some flowering asters that are pot grown and they're like moms. They're just, a big
Yeah,
mound, but
they're not garden asters.
no,
They're sticking in a pot asters. I haven't had, they just don't bloom very long for me.
no, no. It
So
would be
I
an
don't want to
instant
spend the
color.
money on them. All right, Crotons. It says Carol is not a fan. Well, I'm going to guess that you're not a fan because it's already really cool there. And
It's not really
here,
cool yet.
well, they like hot weather. They like hot weather.
I was gonna say
So
I guess yeah, they have some
there's some
crotons.
really pretty ones. I'll take some pictures of them. And then the next one you should say because you're the biggest fan of
Pansies
them
and
of all
violas,
time.
but they're tricky because that hot weather, I lost some of the violas in the heat. Went to
Yep.
the greenhouse and they don't have any more violas. They got plenty of pansies. And I thought, I don't really want to do pansies. I want to do violas. So I might have to go someplace
Yeah.
else. But anyway, they don't like the heat, but once it's cool, they're fine.
They do great. And actually, in my world, they overwinter sometimes in the ground. And they'll last well into fall and almost, into December, depending on our weather in pots. Um, So one thing I wanted to say is we now have cascading pansies, which we didn't
Hmm.
used to have, and the violas cascade really well too. So you can use them as a hanging plant.
Well, I
And
will say to
then,
that because I was just talking to Courtney at the greenhouse.
yeah.
So they've gotten what they're called the cool wave pansies, which are
Hmm.
trailing. But in 2026, they got a new line called Top Wave. And I said,
Oh,
Hey, Courtney,
interesting.
look at these. And
I
so I don't,
wonder, I want, I wonder if those will pile up on top of each other the way the petunias do.
where you don't know
Oh,
what's what.
yeah, that'll be kind of
I don't
fun.
know, but the Top Wave, they have a lot of new colors. So I had sent her a link and said, Hey, if you're
That's
ordering,
cool.
because they have to
We
order
also,
now.
for 2026, wow.
Well, she says they have to order their pansies and violas now because the wholesaler is going to start them from seed, and they need to ship that seed sometime in January. So they're going to start seeding here in another month or so. She
Yeah,
said.
sure, because
So
we seed
she,
in December.
yeah. So she wants to get her has to get her order in so they know what to grow.
Gotcha. So you think she'll buy some of those?
I don't know. I told her about them. That's all I can
I bet
do.
she, I bet she does. So the next ones you mentioned were coxcombs, which are celosia, which are part of the amaranth family. Therefore, deer will eat those too. But we use those a lot in pots because they add a nice vertical element and you need some verticality. And then you brought up cone flowers, and there's so many on the market
Did
now.
I bring up coneflowers? I thought you made that list. Oh well.
Maybe I did. Maybe I did. Coneflowers are great if you can get them to come into bloom at the right time. And there's a lot of those Rudbeckia. Um, there's some new Rudbeckias that they sometimes have too, but um, I don't know. It's interesting because a couple of our nurseries are not carrying coneflowers like they have in the past. And then grasses. Grasses make a great central element, so do evergreen trees. This is what we use a lot. We use in smaller pots, we use crotons or smaller grasses. Then we use larger grasses. We use some junipers and we use boxwood for central stuff. I'm not thinking of one of the plants I use as a
Well,
centerpiece.
I'll tell you another one that's just beautiful, that's very tempting, and that's the purple millet. Great
Oh
big.
yeah.
That's a beautiful one.
Yeah, if you can find it. It's been hard to find. We have great big purple grass right now, which is not the millet. It's one of the princess grasses, which is a pennisetum. But it's going to have to go in a really big pot because it is big. So some of that. And then you can,
This is my contribution, this thing. this next thing.
Right, right, because you can do that. Can I say the thing about the trailer and then you'll talk about
Yes.
nestling? Because
Yes.
the last thing we do is nestle.
Yes. Go ahead.
So Creeping Jenny, I love Creeping Jenny Aria, which is the lime green one. Other trailing plants, including trailing violas and pansies, which I already mentioned, and oh gosh, English ivy is a good one. Trailing vinca. We have a vinca that's
The
variegated that's
variegated.
really
Yeah.
nice too.
Yeah.
So
I've
you're
seen
back to
that.
that filler, thriller, spiller, and you can add stuff to it. And then at the very end, what do?
You can nestle in little pumpkins and gourds.
Yes, you can. And you can also stick in cattails and all kinds of cool things to go in there too.
Right.
So
Right.
and then we have some people come in and we have some wheatgrass that's, already done, some
Right.
wheat. They just take bundles of wheat and stick it in there too.
Well, I'm thinking about cutting down my corn stalks. This is the tallest corn I've ever grown. It's probably 8 feet tall,
Hmm.
and making a thing of corn stalks to put out
We
somewhere
have
for
hay bales,
decorations.
mini bales. We have mini bales and we also have corn stalks too, because some people love to use them. I can't really ever figure out where to put them in my little space in the front. I really don't do my pots in the back for fall. I just let them go because
Right.
for
Right.
Pete's sake, I'm done. And then in the front, I have, I usually do a little bit of fall, but I haven't done anything yet because it's about time to get out my Talavera pumpkins and buy some pumpkins. We have some really pretty pumpkins.
Right.
Okay, so then you brought up fillers, thrillers, and spillers, or is Sarah Raven? I'll let you say that part
Well,
because I wrote it
Sarah
up.
Raven, and I found a quote. She says, I'd go for what I call my bride, which is the dominant, most sumptuous one. Then I would go for the bridesmaid, which is the same color as the bride, but a little more recessive and more in the background. She's talking about color. And then finally, she has a color contrast for the gate crasher, but kind of in the same palette. So you're thinking about instead of thriller, filler, spiller, she's got bride, bridemaid, and then gate crasher.
That's funny about the great gate crasher. So I would say the gate crashers in our pots would be the peppers because we have a lot of ornamental
Oh, yeah, we
peppers.
should have mentioned ornamental peppers.
They're really pretty and they have lots of different colors. And if you take the opposite color of your pansy and put your pepper with it or whatever, that's a gate crasher idea because they're opposites on the color wheel.
You're having too much fun there at the greenhouse. Are they actually paying you
I
to have that
am.
fun?
They pay me to have this fun.
Oh my
Yes.
gosh. Well, do a quote for vegetables. This, because you ain't getting paid right now.
No. There is no season when such pleasant and sunny spots may be lighted on and produce so pleasant an effect on the feelings as now in October. Nathaniel Hawthorne. I feel like they used to like to write tongue twisters. All right, vegetables. I
Okay,
brought up this topic.
you
You go
did.
first, though.
No, you said 3 lettuces worth growing. And I said,
Mhm.
depends on who you ask.
But you and I are going to say which ones we think are worth growing.
Yes.
So go.
Oh, okay. So I like the mixes to make a
Hmm.
colorful salad. Just some of them they call them mesclun mixes or whatever, but and they're not
Yes.
even all lettuces. They'll have a little bit of arugula and other things stuck in there. But I like to sow a row of those and just, take whatever comes up. Has red
Hmm.
lettuces mixed in. I like black seeded Simpson, very simple lettuce to grow. And then I do like Great Lakes, which is an heirloom variety that I started growing after a couple of years ago when I wrote that article about how Hal Borland's wife grew lettuce and some of the
Right.
tips that she had. So those are my three. What are your three?
I think the word mescaline is just French for mix. I
Yes.
think. Okay, but I remember when mescaline mixes came out
Mm-hmm. Oh,
and
they were so
everybody was
fancy.
everybody was really thrilled about it, and now they're everywhere. Okay, so in my case, I really love speckled troutback. I wrote an article about it once for organic gardening and actually made some money, which was awesome. And I don't think it's out there though. I don't even think it's out there in the Wayback Machine. So I
Did
might
you
have it
look?
somewhere. I should look just to see. And then I'm going to try next spring. Oh, hi, there's a cat up here. I'm going to try next spring Salanova green butter lettuce because I like butter lettuces and so does Bill. And it's one that is from Johnny's Selected Seed and it is pelleted. And I really like pelleted lettuce seeds because they are so much easier to plant and not have to, do a lot of thinning. And then, of course, my old favorite is black seeded Simpson. And this is because my grandmother grew it and it's just a good lettuce. I mean, good, really good leaf lettuce. So here are our tips.
So remember that lettuce likes cool weather.
It hasn't been very cool, although it's finally starting to
No,
cool
and you
down.
know, Dee, I sowed all that lettuce 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, how'd that go?
None of it's come
Nada.
up.
Yeah,
Nothing.
because
I
it's
was
not
like,
been
is the
cool.
soil too warm for it to come up?
Maybe,
I thought,
maybe.
I got tons of radishes that came up, and I have a lot of little peas that came up, which I'm just growing to fix nitrogen in the soil. But I haven't seen a hide nor hair of that dumb lettuce.
Well, it may grow now because you had all that rain, but it
It
also may have
could.
slid all the way down to the end of the bed
Well,
as it
no,
does
because
here when it rains really hard.
I was watering it. So, um, you can eat the thinnings, of course,
Right?
and you shouldn't let your lettuce dry out. Going back to the watering thing, it needs water.
Hmm.
You need patience, especially if you're growing something like Great Lakes, which is it tends to form a head, so the little leaves kind of you can see it curling in on each other like the romaines,
Hmm.
where you want a little bit of a head to it. That takes patience and cool weather, and so
Which we don't have in Oklahoma, so don't even try to grow head lettuce here unless you're just an expert
well,
or you're
great.
doing
I
it
will
in a
say this:
greenhouse under
Great
lights
Lakes
in the
is no
winter.
iceberg. It's
That's good.
it's I'll call it a very loose head.
Okay, loose heads you can do, maybe. All right, so once lettuce bolts, you should pull it out because it's trying to set seed and it has become bitter. But here's the clue. Here's a clue. Don't wait for it to bolt because in our climate, especially, it goes bitter before it bolts because they've
Right.
created all those
Same here.
lettuces that don't bolt now. And so what I do is I walk out there and I taste a leaf and I go, well, that tastes like poo poo. So I am going to pull it out now. And I find that very satisfying to pull out the lettuce.
It's easy to pull out.
Yeah, it's fun. So you might want
And
to cover your lettuce in the fall
you
if it ever gets
might,
cool.
if you have a nice little stand of lettuce and you see frost is coming, but you also see that after that it's not going to frost for a while, then
Hmm.
it might be worth covering it. But if you're going to have frost after frost after frost, I wouldn't bother.
Let it go, man. Let it go.
Let it go.
Everybody needs a rest, including the garden. The garden needs a rest too. All right, next quote.
Secondhand books are wild books, homeless books. They have come together in vast flocks of variegated feather and have a charm which the domesticated volumes of the library lack. Besides, in this random miscellaneous company, we may rub against some complete stranger who will, with luck, turn into the best friend we have in the world. Virginia Woolf. We do not have a used book on the shelf, Dee.
Not this time. We have a new book,
We
and
have,
we love her.
oh dear heavens, My Garden, A Year of Design and Experimentation by Jacqueline van der Kloet. Thank you to Timber Press for sending us review copies. Dee, look, I marked a bunch of pages to talk about.
I see that. Good. I
This is
think I
a
have read this book. I think this was released. I might be wrong about this, but I have read a version of this book already.
I don't
But
know.
it
So she has this book, Growing Bulbs in the Natural Garden.
I have that one too, but that's not it. It might be called,
Color Your Garden. I have
no, it's not Color Your Garden. I have that one too. Anymore?
no.
Okay, so I think you go ahead and talk about the stuff you flagged, and I'm gonna look it up because I'm just sure I've read a version of this.
Well, you look that up because I don't think I've read a version of this. And so Jacqueline starts, she goes month by month, and
Uh-huh.
she starts in September with the garden. and she has
Yep.
beautiful photos, and she just goes month by month with what she's doing in her garden and what things are happening. And she
Okay.
says,
Okay, so before you, okay, go say ahead and say what she
no,
says, and then
go
I'll
ahead.
tell you. No, I have the book A Year in My Garden, which I think this is a reprint for the United States because you can't buy that one anymore. Um, I mean, you can, but it's like $64. I bought it back in August of 2022. But when I started looking at this, I was like, wait a minute, I know this book. And so, because I read that book cover to cover. Yep, even this is the same.
Yes.
It's just smaller. It's a smaller
Well,
size
I don't
imprint.
have that other
Even the
one.
pictures are the same. You keep going and
She says in the intro, I am best known for my work with bulbs. True that.
yep.
Um, and it's true they are my favorite group of plants, but I grow many other plants in my own garden. I had been longing for years to make a book about what happens in a garden in 12 consecutive months. I wanted it to be a guide for readers to give them the feeling that they were being led by the hand to understand step by step the interaction between what you do in a garden and what the garden does for you. It is this
Mhm.
synergy between practical details and instinctive experiences that I hope to share here. How one looks at the different seasons, for example, and how to learn to appreciate the beauty of each season. And she does have
So
those pictures.
yeah, she does. She does. She goes from, and she does it each month and tells you what to do. Now, we live in the US and we live in the middle of the US, so our weather is slightly different from hers.
Right.
Her winters are not as cold as mine are usually, but I would say run, don't walk to get this book because I love the other version of it so very much.
Yes. And it's kind of inspiring. And and she noted that and she said in the Dutch version, because this introduction must be for the American version or the English version,
Hmm.
she said she noted that some people like to just read September and September and October and October. And so this
Hmm.
book starts in September. She feels like a month to month book. She says, in my mind, the most appropriate month to start with in a garden book is September. It's the month in which we start to take leave of summer, but at the same
Hmm.
time, preparations for spring can begin. I feel September is the month which makes it most obvious that the garden is a continuous process without a clear beginning or end. So if you have to choose where to start, then that would be September.
Yeah, and I think there are some other people who have started their books in September too, and I
Yes,
think that's a
I
good
have,
time.
yeah, I have tons of those. I have tons of those
I
month by
know
month
tons of
books.
those types of books. It's a great book. The other one was a great book. I'm glad they've reissued it.
Yes,
I
and
think it's a really
so
good one.
for October, this is a cute story. She said, more than 25 years ago, I was planting bulbs at the end of October when Carol, the little boy next door, who is now a very tall man in his 30s, came to ask what I was doing. I had to switch to language he could understand and explain that I was putting little presents in the ground, which would appear automatically in spring, and that all these funny shaped little balls, which felt quite dry, were called bulbs, and that they would be first go to sleep all winter long and then would wake up again when the sun started warming things up in the spring. He swallowed the story. After that, he regularly came to ask me how long it would be before the presents appeared above the ground. And that's how I feel every autumn. Planting spring flowering bulbs is like giving yourself a present you can enjoy in a few months' time. It's lovely.
It is lovely. It's a great book. I think it's one of the best ones. She and Klaus are really good writers, and they have a different sensitivity. Just know that some of the stuff that they can grow, we really can't grow, and also some of the things they can find, we can't find. But I love that she has a section in each, I think it's each month, where she talks about her favorite plants,
Right.
and she talks about them as color. So you can take her color, like you might not be able to find, say on page 72, 73. You might not be able to find Ageratum, Houstonium, Red Sea, but maybe
Right.
you can find another one. And don't plant Liriope because Liriope is a nightmare. But here's Verbena bonariensis lollipop. You could grow that.
Yes. Hang on. I'm going to look up the hardiness zone for um, the Netherlands.
Okay, you can do that.
I'm going to see what it is.
I think it's zone 8
Um,
because they do get snow, but they don't.
okay, the Netherlands ranges from 7B to 10A.
There you go.
So,
Zone 8's right in the middle somewhere.
this other one says it's really 7, 8, and 9. So it
Yeah.
would be kind of like what?
Here,
North Carolina?
probably more like North Carolina because the humidity's better. But Oklahoma is 7A, 7B, 8A. And then the northern part of Texas is 8A and the middle Texas is 8B, I believe. So it'd be kind of like where we live, kind of.
Yeah. Well, I just looked up. So North Carolina goes from 6A to 8A.
Yeah,
So kind of think of
kind of in
yourself
there.
kind of in that, you know, that area. So you do
I
have to
mean, I'm in
translate a
zone
little
7.
bit. And you, like you said, don't go species by species, but think about what would be a good substitute in my climate.
Right. It's a really good book.
Yes, it is.
Do you want
And
me to do
that,
the next? Oh, you might do it
well, we
again?
gotta go hold up the book one last time and talk about it.
There we go.
So that it is My Garden, A Year of Design and Experimentation by Jacqueline Kloet from Timber Press. Thank you for those
She's a
copies.
really nice person too. You and
We
I heard
met
her
her.
speak and we met her. She's really
I
great.
was trying to figure out where were we when she spoke. Was that in
In Buffalo, we were in
No,
Buffalo.
Buffalo was
It was also the lady who did braiding sweetgrass. Different Buffalo. We've been to Buffalo more than once.
I thought she spoke to us in Chicago.
Well, maybe it was Chicago for
Anyway,
garden writers. The pro is we should explain to our listeners. The problem is we have traveled together for blogging. I did more of it for blogging than Carol did. And
right,
then also we traveled for garden writers, which then later became Garden Com. So we've been all over the place. And then I
right,
traveled overseas with a couple of groups. So
right. And this is the
I've been
part
to the
where I
Netherlands.
like to tell you that she signed my book, Color Your Garden.
Yeah, you've told me that before.
I like to rub it
Um,
in.
I know. And so I'm
Do
going
the
to rub in now that I've been to the Netherlands twice.
do the
All
quote.
right. See, she doesn't like it when I rub it in. My beloved October has returned with its brilliant colors, cool temperatures, and sunny, cloudless azure skies, and I must enjoy it before it escapes for another year. Peggy Tony Horton, and it's a book called Somewhere in Heaven, My Mother is Smiling.
Interesting quote.
And that brings us to dirt. Ugh. Yeah, this is a good topic,
It's
but
a very
ugh.
good topic. And so there's a network of public gardens, and it's called the Midwest Invasive Plant Network.
hmm
And they have an organization called Public Gardens as Sentinels Against Invasive Plants.
Elves are so important, aren't they?
Anyway, so what they
That's quite a
do,
name.
what they
PGSAIP.
yes, what they do is since they have a lot of plants that normally are brought in from other countries and stuff,
hmm
they basically monitor, and if they see any plant that's starting to self-sow or get itself out of control, they start looking at it more critically, and they will actually remove plants if they think they're bad. And um, there's a little video we're going to link to that you can watch that kind of explains what they do. It's really actually pretty important work that
Yeah,
they're,
it is. It's extremely important work.
and like they said, if they had been doing this 100 years ago, we would
We
not
wouldn't have
have
kudzu.
we wouldn't have kudzu. We wouldn't have Asian honeysuckle.
Mulberry. We wouldn't have
We wouldn't
mulberry weed.
we
Oh my
wouldn't have
gosh.
calorie pears everywhere if they
Oh
had
my
been,
gosh.
you know, collaborating with one another. So
Honeysuckle.
all the above. They do that and says due to their unique status as living museums of plants from around the world, public gardens and arboreta can play a unique and proactive role in assessing which non-native plants exhibit invasive tendencies. They have access to staff expertise to observe the reproduction and spread of plants that are not well known, may not be available in the trade, can make recommendations about these plants' capacity to become invasive based on their observations. And so it's important work, and we'll put a link to it to alert people to this. And I think
Okay.
more botanical gardens and arboreta are joining into this network. And so they don't have every state represented. Like I don't think Oklahoma's represented, but I don't think it'll be long before everybody's in.
Cool. I think that's really cool.
That's the dirt.
Okay, so I was looking something up while you were talking about that too. So our rabbit holes are
Wait, I got to
mine
do a quote.
is
I got to do a
oh
quote.
sorry. Keep going.
Autumn serenades. Okay. Autumn serenades the breeze into dancing a cha-cha-cha. The mountains echo in the background. October sky never looked more charming, nor the sublime leaves of the trees so graceful. I have no idea how to pronounce that name. Avijit Das.
That works for me.
Now your rabbit hole.
Well, it's quite the rabbit hole. It's about seed pelleting because I was talking about how I think pelleted seeds are cool, and you go, "Do you know how they pellet seed?" And I was like, I never really thought about it, but okay. Pelleting seed is that they just put an inert material around the seed. And there's actually some videos on how they do it. And if you want to go and watch them, I will link to one of them. I think the best one to link to is this one from Pan American Seed because I like the people at Pan American Seed. They're super smart and they produce all kinds of things, but a lot of times it's a clay type material and that's how they do it. So we'll link to the thing
I've heard
about
they
it.
use sometimes they use like a cornstarch mixture.
They probably do, yeah.
So there's a lot of different things that they use.
Or tapioca starch or
You can
something to just it has to be something edible though.
you can make your own pelleted seed if you
Yes,
wanted
you
to,
can. There's a whole bunch of people who make it. And of course, that brought me to thinking about seed bombs because seed bombs are just large versions of
right?
pelleted seeds. So,
Well,
same
my
idea.
my mind went to seed tape, where people use like a thin, like a single ply toilet paper even, and they wet it down and they
Mhm.
put the seed, and then they put that in the garden. But
This all has to do with really small seeds. Like,
yeah,
I mean, radish seeds are pretty small. They're not that small. And then lettuce seeds are small. Spinach seeds aren't that small. What else would you
no,
pellet? I guess some flower seeds.
there's a ton of flower seeds they pellet. Like you remember when we
Yeah.
had the seeds for Suncoleus? Those were
Yes,
pelleted.
those were a nightmare. Even being pelleted, they were a nightmare to try to sow. Remember those? Those
Yeah.
were hard. And
Anyway,
then oh, and another one, begonias. Begonia seeds. They pellet those because they're really hard. Petunia seeds are often pelleted because
yes, they're
again,
tiny too.
they're really small. So there you go. All about pelleted seed.
So, we've only had 4 days, so how many rabbit holes could we really go down?
Not too
I
many
I
because I've
did
been
write a blog
busy.
post, but you said we might talk about that next week.
Yeah, don't yeah, that's going to be next week's topic.
And I did a quick dive down into a rabbit hole for the next Lost Lady of Garden Writing because that'll come out next. It'll come out next Wednesday. And I
Cool.
found a very interesting woman that, yeah, does. She's from Vermont,
Oh, cool.
and that is it. Let's talk about our commissions. Go
My
forth and
commission
garden,
is,
Dee.
Lord, no. I'm tired of gardening. Um, I garden 3 days a week for work. Um, what am I gonna do? I'm gonna water because that's what I'm still doing, and I'm actually gonna empty a few pots because I'm tired of watering them and they don't look very good, and it's time to let them go. So I'm gonna let those go, and then I really do need to start taking cuttings, but I'm just not interested.
Hmm. I hope you
I
don't
know.
regret it in the spring. If, like you said, that was it false vervain you were going to take cuttings of?
Yeah, that's not hard. I can take cuttings of that. I just don't have to. I mean, here's the good news. My garden is not as big as it was. So I don't have to fill the holes as much as I used to.
That's good.
That part's happy, but I am going to have to fill some holes, and I really need to dig up that rose bush that has rose rosette disease.
I thought
Boo.
you were doing that last week, Dee.
Yeah, no, I didn't.
So
It
I'm
was
going to
too
get my
hot.
microgreen farm set up for sure this by the weekend because my talk is coming up like in 2 weeks for
Hmm.
Monday. So I need to get that. And then I have the other talk that I'm doing like the day before, blah, blah, blah. I got to get all those taken care of. Out in the garden, Mother Nature is kind of in charge right now because other than watering when I need to, and I haven't because it's been raining, doing some mowing, starting some cleanup. There's not a lot going on. I am going to take these hanging baskets out front that look kind of spent, quite frankly, and I did get some bird seed, so I'm going to take those down and put out my bird feeders, and so that's it.
We don't put up our bird feeders until Thanksgiving, but it's coming along. So it's our We Do Not Care segment. It's your turn to do it.
I did it last week. No,
I
you
thought
did
I
it.
did.
You did.
Okay.
We do not care if the edges of the garden look a little messy. It's fall. They should be messy.
Yeah, we don't care.
Thank you for listening to The Garden Angelus. Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a single episode. We publish every week on Wednesdays at 12 a.m. Eastern Time.
If you subscribe to our Substack newsletter, you get a link to listen to the podcast a whole day early and links to the products we discuss. Please go over, not please, well, please is fine. Please go over to YouTube and see us in person. Full episodes show up on Tuesdays. So if you can't wait until Wednesday, you now have 2 days to get episodes on Tuesdays.
And if you want to help support us, use our affiliate links. If you buy something after clicking through on them, we earn a small commission and it costs you nothing.
Why is commission misspelled? You need to look at that. Or you can set up a monthly subscription through Buzzsprout. That's the company that hosts our podcast. Or make a one-time donation through PayPal. You also have the option of pledging your support on Substack, which we appreciate all of that.
Yes, thank you to everyone who has done so. It helps us pay for podcast hosting.
It was lovely to chat with all of you over the Garden Gate. Bye until next week.
Bye, everybody.